Today we are beginning our exploration of chapter 30 of Tanya. So we are continuing to address this issue of Timtum Halev. Timtum Halev is a spiritual blockage of the heart. It's a state of apathy. It's a state of inner complacency. So what's the symptoms? Like, how do I know if I'm having Timtum Halev? If a person is meditating and this is not creating emotions, and also, they're lacking the idea of Kaddish Atzmecha b'mutlaq, sanctify yourself in what's permissible. You're not feeling sensitivity towards godliness. And just to clarify what it means, if I'm not feeling godly emotions in meditation, meaning I'm trying to feel love and awe of God, and I'm doing the appropriate meditations that Tanya has provided me with, and yet I'm still not feeling anything. I'm in this place of this energy block, this complacency, this thickened ego. And the example that we had from the Zohar is that the ego is being so thick that it's not allowing the light of my soul to express itself. And so the Alter was saying that this is a spiritually dangerous situation, even more dangerous than sadness, and we need to know how to deal with this. So in this chapter, what we're addressing is that one of the tactics of the ego to block out the light of the soul is making a person feel like they are spiritually superior to someone else. Yes, that is ironic. I know. It's like, I'm holier than you. Yeah, right, okay, sure. But so the goal of this chapter is we want to gain an inner humility before the people that we originally judged and felt holier than thou to and felt, well, at least I'm better than them. Like, where does that complacency come from? I'm fine. I mean, compared to them, I'm just doing dandy. I'm fantastic. Like, me and God, we're fine. Okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, not feeling anything, just spiritually numb, but everything's fine because I'm holier than them. And so we want to get some deep inner humility, which is going to lessen that ego and therefore resolve the spiritual blockage of the heart. Sounds fun. Let's do it. The medicine for such an inflated ego is be lowly of spirit before every man. You heard me, every man. That means a street cleaner. That means the person that you think your job's more important than. That means the person that you think you're holier than. That means the mailman. That means the tzedakah collector. That means the teacher that you think you're really do a better job than at your school. That means your colleagues. That means your boss. That means children. That means adults. That means women. That means men. That means everyone, okay? Be lowly of spirit before every man. Everybody. This is not based on my, let me look you up and down and see if I'm holier than you. This is not based on my assessment. This is Torah wisdom coming from a higher source to heal me, to allow me to step into this place of humility. And the spiritual medicine is be lowly of spirit before every man. So how can a person humble themselves before people they feel superior to? After all, I'm better than them, right? Don't judge your fellow man until you've stood in their place. Yes, that's from Judaism too. I know, it's such a well-known quote. It's just so true. And yes, this is part of Torah. Don't judge your fellow man until you've stood in their place. So you might be wondering, why did it stay in their place? What's that referring to? For it's literally his place, his physical environment that causes him to sin. Tanya will now bring to the spiritually blocked person how the people they are feeling superior to perhaps have a challenging environment or nature. Right? He's realizing, okay, so I feel holier than them. I'm doing more mitzvahs than them. At least I'm not sinning like them. And that's keeping me in my own complacency. That's keeping me from real, honest growth. As the Alter was saying, don't judge them until you've seen their place, their environment, their challenges. I don't know their struggles. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you're coming from, right? Really realizing that I don't have the full picture on this person's life. I'm looking at this one puzzle piece of this person's life and judging them and feeling superior when really there's a whole picture. This is just one little puzzle piece. I need to gain some perspective. So let's look at the idea of environment. Okay, environment. Since his livelihood requires him to go about to the marketplace all day, this is the scenario of this person, and whenever he's thus not engaged, he's of those who sit at the street corners. Okay, some kind of derogatory term for those who sit at the street corners. Thus his eyes see all sorts of temptation. And what the eyes see, the heart desires. That's why we say in Shema, don't follow after your heart and after your eyes, lest you go astray, right? We're going to go astray from all these things that we see. Yeah, right? So it's like, think about it. This person, they're working in an environment that is not necessarily the most modest environment. It's not necessarily the most ethical environment. And they have that downtime. And that downtime, it's like just kind of asking for for mischief. And so just realize that maybe you get to sit, like the person the Alter Rebbe is addressing is like, maybe we have to remember the context. in the times that the Alter Rebbe is writing the Tanya, there's still this great divide between Torah scholars and the average Jew. And as the Baal Shem Tov really started this revolution, right? There's the Baal Shem Tov, there's his student, the Maggid, and then there's the Alter Rebbe, okay? Who's like spiritually the grandfather of the Alter Rebbe is the Baal Shem Tov. So the times of the Baal Shem Tov is a total divide. There's the Torah scholars, and they get the Aliyahs and Shul, and they're the holy ones. And then there's like the Nebuch, unfortunate, lowly Jew who hardly knows Torah. And so the Alter Rebbe is continuing the work of the Baal Shem Tov and saying, don't be so fast to judge, right? You get to sit in the Torah study room all day, the Beis Medrash. You get to be involved in prayer and mitzvahs and being the rabbi and all these fun things. This person needs to they need to go out into the world. They're going to see things they probably wish they hadn't seen. They're going to be involved in different things. They're going to be exposed to things that you are never involved in your atmosphere of holiness. So take that into account before you're so quick to judge. So this is the scenario that Alter Rebbe is bringing. But we can realize that also to our own examples, right? If someone we're judging, take into account how my environment might be more spiritually nourishing than theirs and the challenges they face in their environment. The second concept is nature. Additionally, it may be his spiritual place, the nature of his evil impulse, that leads him to sin. His evil nature burns like a baker's fiery oven, which is heated with great frequency, an intensity that a domestic oven, more than a domestic oven, as written in Hosea, it burns like a flaming fire, okay? Their evil impulse is caking and alive. It's like a flaming fire. How do I know how hard this challenge is for them? For me, this might just be the easiest thing, or I have to put in a little effort. But I have no idea, like the raging fire, how hard it was for them. One of the first examples I ever heard about free will, such a strong example to me, is like, let's say someone goes and they're raised in an environment where for them, just stealing and thugging is normal. And you see this person, like literally, God forbid, pushing down this old lady, grabbing her purse and running. And you're like, what scum of the earth? What a disgusting human being. And you feel superior to that person, of course. But I don't know, first of all, the environment they grew up in. For all I know, their environment is that they're basically tzaddik, because everyone else would have, brought a gun. And they're like, no, I don't want to go that far. Or they would have also hurt the person. They're like, no, I'm not going there for that far. For all I know, based on their environment, they've achieved incredible heights. Who am I to judge them? And also, I don't know their nature, right? Even if that isn't based on their environment. They just have this nature to steal. Who am I to judge their nature? That doesn't mean I don't call the cops and to help the lady, of course. But in terms of my own judgment of that person, I don't know their nature. I don't have that. I don't have the same inner struggle. I've never had the desire to go rob an old lady. So how am I going to judge? Once again, it doesn't mean you don't take practical matters, and deal with the situation. But innerly, I don't need to judge that person, because how could I judge them when I don't have the same nature as them? The Tanya is now addressing the person with this spiritual blockage, pointing that they don't have the same struggle as the person they feel superior to. Okay? So, one, just to summarize, you don't have the intensity of the challenging environment, right? We don't have the same challenging environment as this person. And your nature probably just isn't as passionate about those things. Meaning, if I see someone, let's say, for example, they're doing something that I wouldn't do. Like, how are they doing that? And therefore, I feel holier than them. I just obviously don't have the same nature and the same drive for that thing. And that's why I'm not challenged by it. And that's why I'm so dumbfounded by it. Or I don't have the same environment that influenced me in that way. So I can be grateful, humbled by the gratitude. Thank you, Hashem, for the good, healthy environment. Thank you, Hashem, for this nature that's easier to overcome. And humbled and in awe of this person and their struggles and the hard work they do. And now not only am I not judging them, I'm inspired. Wow, look how you overcome your environment to your own ability. Look how you overcome your nature to your own ability. Who am I to judge when I don't see that in your inner world?